It's time for Cutting Edge Consciousness with Freeman Michaels and Barnet Bain. Thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
And welcome back to Cutting Edge Consciousness. Freeman Michaels here with Barnet Bain.
Wow. Well, that was a great
one heck of a
conversation.
rumination.
Yeah, well, she is a heck of a ruminator.
Yeah, she's fantastic. I love that. Is it possible? I'm just going to sit with this very slowly. Is it possible that even my arrogance is acceptable? Wow. I mean, I'm sorry. That to me in this moment, again, what she was talking about, that lighter, you really accept all the parts of you? You really? And it feels like there's these layers and layers. Like, oh, yeah. I love what she said. The guy who comes, or woman who comes, whoever it is, and says, I did my shadow work. And she's like, ooh, you're in for it.
Tick, 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 tick,
yeah,
tick,
because
boom.
the shadow work isn't
done.
Yeah, I did that. Oh, I did that one. It's this thing of like, wow, at what level am I really accepting myself?
The whole of all that is holds my shadow. The least of it is the dark stuff.
Yeah, I saw you sweating over there, by the way.
It's, when I top out too much of the good stuff, I know, like a rheostat, I know when the temperature, the climate control suddenly goes off.
Yeah.
And I start to sweat. I get inundated beyond what I have been conditioned as a young boy, as a young man, as a young adult, beyond what I've been conditioned and allowed myself to feel comfortable in.
Yeah.
Too much energy, too much focus, I become inundated and fearful and get ready for. I don't have a container to hold it, and there's a part of me that feels like the shoe is going to drop. And it's like you blow up a balloon, let out a little air. You blow up the balloon a little more, let out a little air. And in over time, my container has expanded as I increase the integration of dark stuff, which is never ending.
That's the point.
And as I equally own what is beautiful about myself. And when somebody says something to me that is flattering, I have to put my foot on the clutch in order not to deflect it, in order not to just move on, or in order not to make light of it, or in order not to go right into, and you too, but to be able to hold it. There is so much of my light shadow that is being held for me in this shadow space, by this shadow space, which is a living entity that is me, that is holding all of the aspects of me that I have not in the past had the capacity to handle, and that I am still don't have the capacity to handle. And to the degree that I am generating capacity to handle it, the shadow returns it.
It does. And the idea, too, that I love that she said there is no darkness. That was so fantastic. Like the two pieces. Two things are kind of coming up at one time, so I'll kind of try to navigate these in my own brain as I say it out of my mouth in real time. The way of not even seeing it as shadow work, but the shadow opportunity, the shadow gift. Thank you. Because it's just this, in the self-acceptance, in the level of self-acceptance is the gift. The depth of the self-acceptance is the gift. And that it ought to be different, that right there is suffering. You're going to be in pain right then. Like the idea that you're done with your work, you're the shadow, I reconcile with that. Yeah, now I'm just, floating in the ether, is troubling to her. And it's troubling to me. And I've played that. We've called it premature transcendence syndrome, right? This idea that PTS, that I'm better now.
I'm in PTS.
And the minute we start saying I'm better now, watch out, And I love what you're talking about in terms of capacity. My capacity to hold, my greatness. My shadow, like, okay, I'm okay with this. There's parts of me that, aren't so great. That I'm more comfortable with.
My light shadow.
But my, that big, incredible.
Well, how many times have you heard... I'm pretty diligent about it now, about paying attention to it now and being alert to it, this idea of unconditional love.
Yeah.
which is as much of a fantasy.
That's because I've heard about it. I don't know what it is, but I've heard about it.
Such a fantasy of unconditional love.
Yeah.
Our shadow is holding that. And any time we have any kind of judgment about anything, there is any kind of pushback, there is a condition.
Yeah.
So when Debbie is referring to you expand your relationship with love in order to transcend and include that stuff, then you have reduced the conditioning, and there's plenty more.
Yeah. And with the light,
or we wouldn't be in physical bodies.
That's right. And with, so here's another piece of the puzzle. My sense is, and I think this is what you were saying anyhow, as we begin to expand into more and more possibility, and there's this excitement, and we're just thriving in some way, the shadow pieces come too. It's not like it's one or the other. They're part and parcel.
Well, we're living in it.
Yeah.
So we can look at it like we're pulling a train.
Yeah.
And that's the degree to which I, with full awareness, I'm aware of parts that I'm not letting go of.
Yeah.
But refuse to forgive, refuse to let go, refuse to move on. And then there is also the awareness that I am living inside an experience that I think I'm separate from. And in some mental way, I know I've heard that there is the oneness. So I know there is some relationship at some level, at some depth, where it is all integrated as one. But I don't know myself in that way, in that God way. I don't really know it. So I am moving through an aspect of myself that knows itself as more. And I am the part moving through it that is developing a relationship with more and more of it in a conscious manner.
That's fantastic.
So that's
so well said, Barnet.
That is a shadow piece that I am moving through, and it is holding my ability to be in relationship with it, with myself, and giving it back to me as I put more of me online.
Okay, so my two words, generous humility.
3 words, and compassion.
Yeah. Well, I think compassion is, and these words can be played around with a little bit, but the idea, because she said humility, Debbie Ford said humility in the interview, in the conversation, I should say, that element of I'm always humbled. She said, I'm always humbled, and obviously blessed to do this work, to be able to play in this arena of working at this deep level of self-acceptance where people leave lighter. It's a fantastic gig right there. And what a journey to go through again and again and again. Like, yeah, I'll sign up for that, that I'm really willing to own all aspects of me. And that becomes an expression of profound humility, but a generous humility. This kind of humility that we go, yeah, I want that.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
It could be like synonymous with authenticity, but that's taken on its own shadow play at this point because everyone's touting that around. So I'd like to just use a different word or
realness.
Different language. Realness, but humility in a kind of feet in the mud. It's okay. I'm a little bit arrogant. I'm a little bit this. I'm a little bit that.
I'm a little bit of country. I'm a little bit of rock and roll.
You and Marie Osmond. And she is, by the way. I'm not diminishing that. She's a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll, and a little bit so you think you can dance, which is everything. And
yes, can we be big enough? Can I be large enough to hold all of the parts? Walt Whitman said, we contain multitudes.
Shakespeare said, I am in one person, many people.
My mansion has many rooms.
There you go.
Your turn.
Hey, smartest boy in the room.
Exactly, part of my shadow.
I like that guy. But tell him to sit down right now. That was funny in real time. But no, that's it.
Is it hot in here?
Yeah.
I'm wearing a sweater.
I think we've already started her course. I think we started it right now. Yeah, we're already in it.
Without the party bus.
That's right.
I'll do the course, but we need the bus. We're not going alone. We get a bunch of our listeners.
All right, so let's create a sign up.
We have some food.
Yeah. Gotta have food.
We bring Spence.
He's
coming. He just signed up.
He doesn't know, but he did.
He just signed up. Oh, yeah, I saw him sign up.
Yeah, he gave a head nod.
Yeah.
That's great.
Debbie will work you.
She will
I'm sweating
like
for you.
she's already gearing up. What a great fun show.
It was a fun show.
Yeah. And I think it's funny that I'm just going to try to tie it all together in the last whatever minute we have.
What else is coming up for us before you tie it up? We have a bunch of cool guests coming up.
Yeah, we've got
talk
some
about some of our
amazing
cool guests.
We've got amazing guests coming up, and we've got. Let's see. We're talking. I think we can bring this
you should
up.
talk about that.
We're talking about creating a mastermind around a new relationship with prosperity, and
Money, shadow of money.
that's what I was bringing it back to, so we can do it in this context. Just because it's interesting. Obviously, we've both been working on this for a long time, and the opportunity to create a course moving forward to take some folks through high level, this deep level of self-acceptance, to move through some of the shadow stuff into a new relationship with prosperity, the felt sense of it. The opportunity to really relate to our shadow with money.
What does it mean? How do we hold it? What matters to us? How does it matter? What is our relationship to what truly matters?
I'll bring up one of the practices. One of the practices is, we don't call them Federal Reserve notes. We call them thank you notes. And so when we exchange these thank you notes in the world, because and we've touched on this, I'll try to do it really briefly in other shows, where we recognize money is a marker. It's not what we've put into it. I mean, all this stuff is projected onto it, but really it was created just to be a marker. So
it measures the movement of
good and service, right,
through the community.
So that we go back to the idea that I'm exchanging this for good and service, and that the gratitude piece. And so we were just at the coffee shop, and we were having a good time, because we always meet for coffee. And you were doing your practice. And so when he bought his coffee, Barnet exchanged it with thank you, which is the expression in the practice of thank you. But it's thank you for...
And what happened to the women behind the bar?
This is the point. So in the energetic frequency of the thank you, which is not the exchange of money, it's in the deeper currency, or the deeper current.
Exchange of energy.
Exchange of energy. Barnet was really thanking her for the effort of making the coffee, and for the work she was going to put in, and for the service she was providing. And the lady just lit up. It was fantastic. And so we were talking about this, how often when we remember to work with this practice, how often we get that experience. So we're actually in our own lives working with a deeper level of expression in the exchange of this thing we're going to call money, but we actually are relating to it at this level of prosperity, where it's a current of energy, it's a frequency, it's something that we exchange. And so that's one of the pieces, just as a little nod towards what we're aiming towards.
We'll talk about more in shows to come, and there'll be ample opportunity to learn more about it on our website at cuttingedgeconsciousness.com.
And there'll be a chance to sign up for the bus.
Yes, there'll be a big chance to sign up for the shadow bus. That's going to be fun.
We're committing to all kinds of stuff.
Well, these are some commitments.
I love it.
We are thrilled to have spent another session with you here on Cutting Edge Consciousness. We hope that you will join us here again next week. If you like what you heard, tell your friends. Visit us on Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere else that you can find Freeman Michaels and Barnet Bain.
Thanks for tuning in.